Welcome everybody to another thrilling edition of Stu Does GIS. Here I'm going to show you how to use the Focal Stats tool. Focal Stats can be found in the Arc toolbox, under Spatial Analyst Tools, under Neighbourhood, under Focal Statistics. So I'm just going to open the tool. You can see I've got the DEM, Digital Elevation Model loaded. So I'm just going to put that as my input raster. And one of the things we can do is to obviously initially specify an output location, so I'm going to send that to my workspace, and here I'm going to calculate the altitudinal range, so I'm going to call that alt range. I'm also going to call it for 5 at the end. That'll become clear in a minute. File naming can be a bit of a problem when you start creating multiple files. You've got to have file names that mean something, so having Fred or Frida or something is not always a good idea, but something like this is altitudinal range, and I'm going to use a 5 by 5 rectangular filter. We can see we can specify here the neighbourhood option. So you can see down the right hand side of the tool, this dictates the shape of the neighbourhood. If we click on that, we can see the default is a rectangle, but you can also have annulus, which is like a ring shape, a circular filter, a wedge shape filter, and the wedge you have the option of specifying directional influences. Indeed, you can have irregular and weighted as well, but here we're going to specify just a simple 5 by 5 cell, 5 by 5 cell rectangular filter. And we also, having specified the height and the width here, we can specify whether these are in cells or map units. So we're going to stick with cells, but we could specify those as map units, in which case we'd have to specify the height and the width in the map units, which in this case is meters. And then we have the statistics type down the bottom, and the default is mean, but you can see again in the help we've got mean, majority, maximum, medium, etc. And we can just look through those and select the one we want. I'm going to calculate the range here, because we're looking at players, fans and mountains. Then it might be something to do with the way that altitude changes over those over these cell sizes, these neighbourhoods. So if there's no change in altitude over a 5 by 5 square filter, then we might say, okay, that's 5 by 5 cells, there's no change in altitude, therefore it's very flat, and that might be a player. If there's a slight change in altitude over that size of that filter, we might reasonably assume that it's a fan, and if the altitude is changing all of the time inside that filter, then we might reasonably assume that this is rugged and mountainous terrain. So having specified my input raster and my output raster, which I've given a sensible name, obviously altitudinal range 5, you could, you've got a limit to the length of the file names that we could put in here, so try and keep these relatively short. And I've specified a rectangular neighbourhood and 5 by 5 cells and the statistic type of range, and I just simply click on OK, and we'll see a result there. I'm just going to change the colour scale here, because we're trying to identify 3 units here. It's a good idea to use a colour ramp which has 3 basic colours in. This one's a good one here. It's got dark blue, it's got green in the middle, and it's got yellow at the other end. Click on OK, so they start to stand out a little bit more, and I'll just finish off the effect by putting on the hillshade layer as a transparent layer. So there we go. So yeah, that's looking not too bad. It's quite similar to the slope. Remember, slope is essentially fitting an inclined plane through a 3 by 3 filter, so it's kind of looking at altitudinal range, so it's kind of similar, but here with the focal statistics we can alter the range of that filter, sizes, we can alter its statistics, and we can alter the shape as well. So that's focal filters for you.